Hello, and welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. My name's Jason Newland. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. The time is 1 minute past 1 p.m. and it's Monday the 3rd of August 2026. 2026? Whoa! Really? Yeah, more like August. Really? Already August. I remember when it was July. It seems like days ago. So, what is Let Me Bore You to Sleep? What does it represent? What does it mean? What's it all about? And also, why do people shout when they're on the phone? I've got a neighbour in the garden shouting. I assume they're on the phone because they just said bye, love you, and no one said love you back or bye. I didn't hear anyone else there, unless the person she's speaking to just doesn't like her. But that's unlikely, isn't it? Why shout when you're on the phone? It's like, isn't that kind of the point why we have phones? So we don't have to shout anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It just seems a bit silly. A little bit silly. I don't know, like going to the bottom of the garden, doing a big poo in a bucket, and then carrying it all through the house, and then pouring it into the toilet and flushing. I mean, technically it's nothing like that, but you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of, I tell you, it reminds me of something. I went to France in 1989, and we literally were, me and my new friend at the time, were pretty much hitchhiking, walking through the Alps in France. And I think we got 2 really long bread rolls, you know, the stick rolls, and bottles of water to save money. That's all we had for probably the whole day, like from early hours in the morning till probably about 8 at night. And then when we got to the next destination, which I think was possibly Paris, but when we got to the next town, we booked into a hotel or bed and breakfast or whatever, and then we went to a restaurant and spent loads of money on a meal in a restaurant. Now, admittedly, that was probably one of the best meals I've ever had. It was a pizza. Just point out what kind of food it was, but because I was so hungry. But also that breadstick was the best breadstick I'd ever had as well. But they did ask if we wanted bread. with the meal, and like, no, you're right. No, we bred it up until you realise that actually pizza is mainly just bread, isn't it? But it's a different version of Ed. Bread. So what is this podcast? I don't know. It's number 1656. 1566. So I've been doing it a while. I think it was March 2018 I started this particular podcast. What is it? What was it supposed to be? Because I think what it was supposed to be has changed. Because originally I think it was supposed to be just me talking and then leading into a slow, sleepy relaxation hypnosis session. That was kind of the idea. And somewhere along the line, I lost my way. Now, somewhere along the line, it sort of transformed into something all of its own, without me really doing anything. I've not purposefully tried to make it a certain way. I just talk about my life and exaggerate a bit, whatever the opposite to exaggeration is, a bit. Do a little bit of fluff here, a little bit of puff there, a little bit of wing wong wang, you know, all kinds of different things. And I don't know what it is anymore. All I know is my left eye's hurting today. It wasn't earlier. I don't remember, I haven't banged it, so I've kind of got like an eye ache, which I haven't had for ages, as you usually do to eye strain, but I haven't really felt like I've had eye strain in a long time, ever since I got my new glasses. It almost feels like I've banged my eye. I haven't. I'd remember that, wouldn't I? Yeah, I'd remember that. I was just saying, I banged myself on the wall while I was asleep. I mean, I did once kick the wall and broke my foot. When I was, it's true. There's still a dent in the wall. Dreaming that something was chasing me, and then I turned round. I realised if I turn around and kick it, the velocity or whatever, the force of it coming towards me, and then me going towards it and kicking, would be a good thing to do. It would like stop the thing, whatever it was. I don't know if it was a dog or if it was a munchkin. I don't know. We did the job, and I woke up, and I couldn't believe the mess. It's like, wow. I didn't just tap, I fully on kicked the wall. Full on kicked it. It's like, whoa. And I think the dent is really from my toenail, really, my big toenail is why the dent is there. But I couldn't walk properly for a couple of months after that. and my most of my foot, apart from it's basically really only the big toe, the second one to the big toe, and maybe the third one, and then the top of my foot was blue and black and green and yellow and all kinds of... it's weird. Apart from that, it was quite good. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. But I don't want to do that again. And then, ironically, I broke the heel later on in the year, trying to stop my door from closing. And the door, we've got these really, really heavy fire doors on all the flats now. They were put in a few years back. And it was... I don't like my door slamming. And they're built to slam, because the idea is they always stay closed. And they're very heavy. So I had something in my hand, I don't know, shopping or something, and I was trying to stop the door from slamming, and it slammed right on my heel. Now I was wearing these, or the old ones, the Crocs, so my heel was out of them when I did it. It's a really silly thing to do. I mean, if I'd have done it, I've done it before with my shoes on, and it's banged my heels a bit, but this was like a bare heel. Oh, again, I couldn't... I mean, this was October, November 3 years ago. Because it was weird because Luke, my friend downstairs, he wanted me to go to the petrol station with him, and I said I couldn't. And he kept going, come on, I want you to come with me. Like, well, go instead of me, then, well, at least come with me. I said, I can't walk with my foot like this. And he was moaning. I said, look. And I just reminded him that he had the same thing, but with his leg. He had, I don't know what the heck it was in his leg, but he had to have treatment on it. He had like not septic, but his leg went really weird, and he couldn't walk on it for months, really, not properly. And I don't know if it was, what's that called, the veins? I know veins are called veins, but anyway, whatever it was, his was serious, mine wasn't. Mine was just an accident. But still, I couldn't walk around. I hobbled to take Vinny out, and I stuck to the garden if I could. And I remember the look of disappointment on my friend's face. The look of disbelief as well. How can you going to let your foot get in the way of you going out? Will you let your leg get in the way of going out? In hindsight, it was a different thing because his was medical, but I still couldn't walk. It was So yeah, it's really weird. During that short period of time, the 2 years previous to him leaving, I broke my foot twice, like my toes. I broke my foot twice, like the top of my foot with my big toe and the one next to it at least were busted, and my foot, the top of my foot. Then I did my heel. I also broke 2 toes when I jumped out of bed because there was always shouting downstairs, and I'd get up like, oh, what's going on? And I banged my foot against it's like I don't have it anymore, but it was a steel exercise bench, one of those really heavy ones. It's about as heavy as I am. It was really heavy, and I smashed my foot on it and broke some toes. So I also fractured, and I broke my rib, and also fractured my back twice when I fell down the stairs, all in like a couple of years. Crazy. Weird, isn't it? All just, and all of them through accidents. Before that, I did break my hand a couple of years earlier. I did fall out of the bath and break my wrist when I first moved in here, but that was 11 years ago. And I hadn't been in a bath for, literally everywhere I'd lived it had showers. There, the last place I lived in before moving here, the place before that, and the place before that. So the last time I had a shower, that I had a bathroom with a bath that I could get into, was 2007. So what's that, 2007, it's 8 years, 2007 to 2015. So I'd gone 8 years without having a bath to get into. So when I got into it, it was slippery and it was weird, and also I can't fit into the bath anymore. Like, to have a bath, I'm just too big to get into a bath. I can sit down in a bath, technically, like, sit down. I don't get completely stuck, but I can't lay my body down, because even if there's only a little bit of water in it, still overflows, and it's just not big enough. I can't. Yeah, there's no point, because if you can't get the water over your body, what's the point in using a bath? That's kind of the whole point of having a bath, isn't it? So that the water covers your body. There was a time when I was so slim, I used to have to wear armbands, those big rubber blow-up armbands when I was in the bath, just to keep me safe. So I didn't, and a bit of rope tied around my waist so I didn't go down the plug hole. I wasn't that slim, but generally, it used to be lovely. I could practically go for a swim. Not anymore. I'm like a hippopotamus trying to fit into a sink. That's what it's like. I did actually speak to the OT, occupational therapist, that's it. I think it was last week, regarding getting the bath taken out and having like a wet room or something like that, a shower, wet room, because I can't get my leg over the bath. So to have a shower, I'm uneven. I'm not really very balanced when I'm using the shower. So I got a shower in the bath as well, like against the wall. That's been there since I moved in. It's one of those ones where you have to turn on the water, both the hot and the cold tap, and then press down on the knob in the middle, the metal knob, to kind of have them both spray out. And it can be either too hot or too cold, or just change halfway through. Oh, it's yummy. But it's okay. It does the job. And I don't know what's harder, getting in or getting out. Probably getting out, actually. So getting in, I'm dry. Getting out, I'm wet. I don't know why I pointed that out, because it's kind of obvious, but unless I haven't actually had a shower. I suppose technically I could get into the bath, with no water in the bath and no shower running, so I could still be dry getting out. But then what would be the point in that? Other than exercise. Really boring exercise. What do you do? I go running. What do you do? I do weights. I go to the gym every day. What do you do, JJ? I get in and out of the bath. Yeah, not that exciting. So I thought, because I've got two neighbours. I got two neighbours in this building that have wet rooms, and they should have really put one in for my friend Uncle Sausages, but he didn't tell them that he had trouble getting in and out of the bath. He turned 79 when he was in hospital last summer, so I'm not saying that everyone in their 70s would have trouble getting in and out of the bath, but I just imagine that there comes a time when it would make more sense to not have a bath. But then the council, on the other flip of the flip-flop, is they're not probably really thinking about the person that's in the flat now, because they know that someone else will be in the flat in the future, and they might actually want a bath, and they're not going to put a bath in if there's no bath in there. If he comes with a wet room or with a shower, then they're just going to be having a shower, that's it. And some people love having baths, don't they? And they're physically able to get in and out, and they can fit in a bath without getting stuck. I'm like an octopus. It's weird, really weird. I didn't realise the sides of my back and my back almost turns into like octopus tentacles. The sucking stuff. I just get stuck. That reminds me when I was in this shop. I can't remember what shop it was, and I was testing out the reclining chairs, and I didn't realise you could get ones that were electrical, and I pressed a button to recline, but I couldn't get back up again, and my feet were practically facing the wall, and the roof. I'm trying to think what's the opposite to the wall. So my feet I was practically upside down, and I didn't know how to get the thing to go back up again, so I had to shout for help. Yeah, it was a bit embarrassing, actually, thinking about it. I thought about something earlier that was really embarrassing, but I can't remember what it was. It was something. What did I do that was really, really embarrassing? It was a long time ago. I remember. This is decades ago. But I was in work, and there was this little room where we used to have coffee. And one of the other lads, he left, and he said something. It was like we were just joking around. He said something, and what I said in response was, at least I didn't mention his mum. Now, it wasn't even that bad, because I didn't mention his mum, but what he said, if you know what I mean, it would have been quite funny. Some people laughed, but it wasn't. It was just a chuck away line, And then a voice from the corner of the room said, "Yeah, because you'd have said it to my mum as well." I didn't realise he had a brother working, so two brothers working together. And then he walked out, and I thought, oh no. So there's all this little gossip going around that I'd upset two brothers that boxed. They both boxed, any amateurs. And I'd upset both. Well, I'd upset one of them. Now, the one I upset, I didn't know. Clearly, I didn't even know he existed. I'd seen him, but I'd never spoken to him. The one who left first, I got on pretty well with. So I thought, well, I'm not going to wait till the end of the day to find out what happens. So I went up to him, the one that I normally would talk to, and I said, look, this is what happened. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. Please don't beat me up. And he said, okay. Then his brother came over, and I said the same thing to him. I'm sorry. And they were cool. They just needed me. Well, the other one had already heard about it. Like, your brother did tell his brother about it. So I didn't realise that as I walked up to him. That's all they needed. They just needed me to apologise, I think. I think the other brother, it gets confusing, don't know, and I keep saying the other brother, but the second brother, the one in the corner that I didn't know was the brother, I think he was a bit annoyed, more annoyed than the other one. I think the other one found it quite funny. The situation rather than what I said. The fact that I said that and his brother was in the room. And how awkward it was. Yeah. Another awkward time was... I'd come back from Ireland on a ferry. And I spent the entire journey with a female that I met on the ferry. We went and watched the cinema, watched a movie together and got on really well. I didn't know that she had a boyfriend. And at the end, I thought, oh, this is going really well. Nothing happened between us. There was no kisses, no hand holding, no humping. So no hiding in lifeboats, reading poetry to each other. None of that stuff. And as we were pulling up to, the ferry was pulling up to England, Dover. Or is it Dover? No, it's Liverpool, I think. She said, no, it was England to Ireland, because it was Dublin. Yeah. So we get to Dublin. Yeah, so once we get to Dublin, and I think it might have been like coaches from the ferry port to Dublin station or whatever, I don't know. And she, we said goodbye and we just, that was it. I get off, bearing in mind that she was part of a coach that I was on. But somehow we managed to get kind of separated when we got off the coach. Okay, so I'm ahead of the place, and I'm talking to a couple of other people that was on the coach as well, and they met up. There was a lot of people waiting for people, and two of the people that I was getting off the coach with or getting off the ferry with, they were talking about something that happened, and I said, well, I spent the entire journey with this really, really fit girl. Oh, she was amazing. And so there's three blokes and me, and I'm probably saying stuff I shouldn't, but they were laughing. Okay, I was very young and naive at the time, and saying how attractive she was, and they were laughing and everything. And one of the blokes said, "Oh, here she is." I said, "Who's that?" He said, "My girlfriend." And I looked over, and it was the woman that I'd spent the entire journey with, walking towards us. And I said, "See ya," and I was out of there, because I realised that I'd just been talking about his girlfriend to him, making him laugh, being rude about his girlfriend. Not rude as in like horrible, but just saying cheeky things. That's all, you know. And I realised that within quite a short time, she was probably going to introduce me to her boyfriend. Oh, we watched a movie together, and you know, because it was innocent to her. Well, it was innocent to me, but I was hoping for marriage and kids and stuff with her. I was hoping that I'd still be with her now. But honestly, I moved so quickly. It was like some kind of superhero movie. I was out of there. And I got into a McDonald's and we just waited so I could see the entrance, and I just thought, no, this could go bad. So I escaped. It's very weird. And I knew I wasn't going to see them again because I was going to a particular part of Ireland, and she wasn't. I knew where she was going. She was going to like Galway or something, and I was going to Carlo. Wow, that was embarrassing. It was embarrassing without anyone else knowing about it, if you know. But she must have seen me there. I mean, literally, we'd spent the whole night together. It was the night we travelled during the night. So we spent the whole night together, like hanging out. And I don't think they had a bar on there. They might have done, but I didn't drink anything. But yeah, it was a nice trip, and she was lovely. But I had a few relationships like that, or not relationships, but experiences where I spent periods of time with a woman, like travelling, and almost like we were best friends, but nothing happened. A similar thing happened on a train journey. It was a really long train journey, and there was this woman with I think she had like a bass, one of those big violin things. So she was a musician. She worked in an orchestra. That was her profession, and we just chatted and laughed for hours. And then she had to get off. And I just wanted to declare my love to her and ask her if she'd had my babies. But it didn't seem right to do that. You know, just like, how can you... Because you've only got a short amount of time between the train stopping and a train starting again. It stops, people get off, other people get on, then the train keeps going. It's very hard to declare your undying love to someone in that time, unless of course it's a movie, a nice romantic movie. I'm trying to think of other times when I'm embarrassed myself. Oh, by the way, this is Monday's Boring Objects. Times I've embarrassed myself. That's what this is. Oh, there's another time. Oh man, I was waiting in... Yeah, I got a job in January 1989 working in an office dealing with lorries. It's like a haulage firm, but they delivered liquid. So like, whether it was petrol, whatever, but it was all kind of chemicals. And my job was to work in the office, basically just doing everything, doing all kinds of stuff. Now, I won't go into that job because that's a whole story of its own. But after being there for probably a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, they sent me on a computer course because I was completely computer illiterate. I'd never used a computer, never even touched a computer really. Even though we had computer studies at school, I opted out of that. Even though we had a computer at home. Because my dad, being an electrician and being a bit of an inventor himself, because he used to do this and that, he used to do lots of different things, he loved new technology. So when it came to new technology, we always had the new stuff, whether it was video recorders, computers. I think he got into the CB radio for a while when that was big. That was really for him, but he you know, we played around with it. But he had that down the bottom of the garden. He had an aerial the size of, I think he had to take the aerial down because it was too big. It was a huge aerial. So he was quite into the trends, and we literally had pretty much the first video game there ever was. And I don't remember what it was called. Although we didn't keep up with the video games. I don't think we ever had an Atari system or anything like that. I'm not sure why, but we had the original ones where you basically you had two little dashes and a dot. It was like tennis, ping pong or something. It was just like dit 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 like that, and it just very boring. It's very boring. But then we had the Atari system, so I think it was a case of you could play games on there. Is it Atari? No, the Atari. There was a really famous computer system that was really big in the early 80s. I can't remember what it's called. I played on it and I thought, what's the point in this? It doesn't do anything. You had to like program it to do stuff, and that seemed a bit pointless to me. To me, that was like, well, we might as well just have a television with no back, just a clear screen, and I act out the programs. You know, what's the point in that? Besides, I won't be able to see myself, will I? Unless I have a mirror in front of me. Yeah, have a mirror in front of me, and then I act out being a Dalek or something. It's like, no. That's what it kind of felt like a little bit. Now, my analogies today may not be great. That's it. That's what I've got to say on that one. They may not be great. So I played around on the computer, and I just did not see the point in it. I could see the point of it as a business. See, I knew that my local news agents, where I used to deliver papers for, when he got a computer, it made it a lot easier for him to just print out all the, you know, who delivers to what. Printed it out, it was easy. So I could see that was a lot easier for people, you know. And I could see, even when I left school, I could see that the tills and some of the newer tills were getting better with the computer systems and stuff. However, when I went to this job, it was all computer. I think the main things there, like you had the desk, chair, pen, but then there was the computer, a printer, the telex machine in the back. I couldn't figure out how to use a telex. I struggled with the fax as well. I mean, I didn't learn to use a fax until probably about 98, because I was working in another office or just helping out, and it took ages, but eventually I figured it out. Okay, I was taught, but eventually I kind of got used to doing it. But I didn't understand, why are we using telex? It just seemed like, isn't there a better way of doing it than this? Because this is just, to me, it felt almost like just one step ahead Morse code. And I knew a little bit of Morse code. I didn't. I don't know why I said that. An absolute lie. I have no Morse code knowledge at all. All I know is like beep, 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 beep. I mean, the point in Morse code is you could communicate just by going beep. You don't go beep, beep, beep. You actually press down on a thing that makes the sound. Because you'd need a microphone, wouldn't you, if you were literally just going beep, 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 beep. And if you do it too much, it's going to sound like, what's his name's? What was his? Buck Rogers' android, a companion. Buck Rogers in the 26th century or whatever, 25th century. Beep, 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 beep. Buck. Come on, Buck. Beady, 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 beady. And that was, I don't know if anyone remembers that. Beady, 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 beady. Let's go rain, Buck. Whatever. So, beady, beady, beady. What's that in your hand, Buck? Beady, 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 beady. I used to like him. What was it? Titty? Was it? I think his name might have been BB. TT, BB. Boody boop, boop, boop. I don't know. But yeah, I don't. No, I don't. I got no. I might have learned a bit of Morse code in the Sea Cadets. It's one of those things that probably never used. Probably never really needed to use. Not that I hoped I'd never use. It's a bit like I know some like basic fire training, how to put a fire out, basic, because I've learnt it. I learnt it in the Sea Cadets, and also learnt it when I was at college, and that and like basic first aid and stuff. And with the putting out fires, I've never really needed to use it, thankfully, and hopefully never will. With the first aid I have, that was, again, very basic. No, actually, well, yeah, I suppose compared to what ambulance people do, yeah, it was very basic. But I've used the first aid training on quite a few occasions the last few years, but that was just like resuscitating someone or keeping them going until the ambulance gets there. But Morse code, no, never. Beep 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 beep. No, never. That and sign language. That's another one I never learned. Now, I think it would make sense as well that all kids, because I think it'd be quite difficult now, but all kids at school learn sign language, but we need an international sign language. Can you imagine how cool that would be if everybody in the world learned an international sign language, which meant we could go anywhere and communicate without having to speak their language. Now, of course, sign language isn't complete communication, is it? It's not the same as talking. So I do wonder how. Must be very... It's a different world. But then it's going to be a different world, isn't it, if you can't see or whatever. But it's got to be... I don't know. It's just the language, because there's so much vagueness in the spoken language, and like sarcasm and the same word meaning different things. It's amazing that whoever invented sign language was able to come up with anything like that. But you know what I noticed? People that spend a long time together, and I'm talking probably maybe decades, they almost seem to be able to read each other's minds. I don't mean the minds, but like from the facial expressions and the subtle movements and stuff. Because my step-grandmother was in hospital, and her husband, my step-granddad, so this is my step-mum's parents, he came in and he sat beside her and they held hands. They just looked at each other, didn't say a thing. And I was just standing there, and I don't know what they were thinking. I hope it wasn't like who's farted, because I had just let one go. But it's almost like they were in sync with each other. They had unless it was just they're both thinking the same thing. What are you looking at? Why are you staring at me? It could have been, couldn't it? Who knows? But they had a deep connection that even someone as shallow as me can recognise. There was this deep connection and it was, I don't know, powerful to see. In fact, after a while, I realised that I kind of, when they say read the room, I realised that maybe it's time for me to stop tap dancing. So it was powerful. The thing is, at the same time, I remember I had a Buddhist friend and he said, I think I know what you're thinking, can you tell me? And I said, no. He said, why not? I said, because then you start thinking you can read people's minds. And he got, I think he was insulted when I said it to him. And he said, why is that a problem? I said, because you can't read people's minds. How do you know? Because, unless, if you might think you can read people's minds, but you might need to see a psychiatrist if you really believe that. But the best way to go through life possibly is to know that you can't read people's minds. And then after that, he didn't talk to me for a few hours. After that, and this was about 2004, I came to realise, and I have done over time, that there's a lot of people out there that really believe that they can read other people's minds. They really believe that they know what another person is thinking. And they don't know. They might guess it. They might, sometimes we're going to be right. Sometimes someone's facial expressions are very easy to read. If someone's, I don't know, for example, someone gets terrified when they see a an octopus doing karaoke or something like that, yeah? That's very took ages to come up with that, didn't it? I'm not sure if that's creativity or just desperation. But so an octopus doing karaoke. So someone goes into a club or bar and they do a karaoke night, and they see that octopus, obviously dressed as a clown, and it's just like, it's like, you can probably guess that person's fearful. You know, like, okay, I can mind read that person. No, you can't. They'll kind of let you know by going, you know, they didn't need to walk around everybody in the club individually and said, you see that octopus? I don't like that. It makes me feel, just whisper it into each person's ear. It's not necessary, is it? It's like the facial expressions, the bodily reaction, and the verbal high-pitched was enough. It doesn't mean you're turning into Uri Geller or White or Derren Brown. I love Derren Brown, makes me laugh because he says right at the beginning, I am not a mind reader. I am not, you know, he says, I am not any of these things. I cannot tell your fortune. I cannot talk to the dead. I mean, anyway, I can talk to the dead. I talk to the dead all the time. They don't answer me. I mean, anyone can talk to the dead. Makes such a big, I can talk to the dead. Yeah, anyone can. Just don't expect a response. Oh no, but I get a response. So you imagine a response. No, I get a response. So you imagine it. No. I actually went to one of those things years ago. I was dating someone that was into that. So I went to their church and they were doing this whole, is there a Doris here? Now, the place is full of, there's a lot of people in there, probably 70s and 80s at this time. Doris was a very popular name. Eileen, Doris, Teresa. You know, you'd find someone with that name. If you got 100 people, 100 women, you'd probably find at least one person with that name back then. So those names, it's just like the turn of the like the early 1900s or 2000s or whatever, 1901 whatever. Edward. The amount of people called William or Edward, it's ridiculous. They're and back then, doesn't seem to happen as far as I know. I might be wrong. People used to name their kids after previous owners, after relatives, either the middle name or the first name. And quite often the firstborn, because people would have a lot of kids in the early 1920s and 10s, and you know, having 12 kids, 10 kids, 6 kids, 14 kids even. It wasn't unnatural. It was unnatural, but it wasn't unnormal. I mean, even with my nan and granddad on my dad's side, both their firstborn male and their firstborn female had the same name as the parents. So I had one uncle called Granddad and one auntie called Nan. So it's, oh dear. Oh, come on. That was hilarious. Shut up. So, I think it'd be funny if I said it really quick. The fact that I'm like taking an hour just to get a sentence out. No. But they did. They actually did name their kids. One was named after him, one was named after her. And I used to think, well, wouldn't that be confusing at home? But it wasn't, because they didn't used to call each other. I think sometimes she'd call him Dad, and he'd call her Mum. But I wasn't around then because I wasn't born. Not that I never saw them. I saw them obviously together, all together when, because I was my dad 26 when I was born. So I saw him pretty much when he was 30, and all my other uncles and aunts together. So my oldest uncle was about 38 at the time, with my granddad and nan, and they'd all say Dad and Mum. Dad to their dad, that is, and Mum to their mum. And they daren't say Mum to their dad. Ooh, woe betide them. There was a lot of those kinds of sayings back then that I grew up with that was outdated when I grew up with it. So I don't think that my friends' parents would use those terms. Yeah, I used to hear things like, woe betide you. I never knew what it meant. I mean, I kind of started to understand, so betide me. So that's something that's going to come onto me. Or that's something that how I'm going to feel. I'm going to be all woeful. I don't know. Still a little bit confused. Other ones, I remember my dad used to say, if he was going to give me a spank, he'd say, I told you to dress up as a schoolgirl. No, he didn't. He said, I told you. This was last week. He said, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. Well, don't do it then. It's just such a stupid thing to say. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. Now, saying that, I only remember one time that my dad gave me a spank. I didn't ask him for it. As a kid, I'm talking about, like, not talking about our regular Thursday nights when I was in my 40s. That's a weird thing to say, isn't it? I don't mean it. But the only time is when I lost my little brother. I lost him. And he was wandering down the motorway. Yeah, my dad was... I've never seen him like that before. He was absolutely furious. Basically, we were out the front. I was about to go to the library, as I did at the weekends. That was my place. No one ever questioned that. It's really weird, I think, thinking about it in hindsight. No one questioned that I was an avid reader, always reading a book, and at the library a lot. Like, I'd spend my Saturday afternoon at a library. Yet my school report did not reflect upon that. My school report you wouldn't think it was the same person. The reason, the only difference, the only thing that I can think of, apart from the fact that I didn't like being there at the school, I wasn't interested in any of the subjects. When I was at the library, I would study a subject that I loved, and I would write out, and I'd search the encyclopedias, and I'd write stuff out, and I'd cross-reference. But I'd be studying vampires and werewolves and stuff like, whatever the subject I was interested in at the time. It later became like martial arts and stuff. Went through a period when I was really into astronomy. But no one questioned it. Like, how can someone be so rubbish at school yet be spending all their time, or a lot of their time, reading books? No one questioned it. I didn't question it either. I literally could not get through enough books. I was reading and reading. I'd read stuff just because I liked the smell of the book, or I liked the cover. And hardly any of it was fiction. The children's stuff was fiction. But with the adult stuff, none of it was fiction. I didn't really read much fiction, apart from, okay, when I was like an older teen, I discovered science fiction books. And there was these, they were thick. And the front cover always had a really, really scantily clad people on there, and it was very adult kind of an adult picture. It wasn't like nude, but it was adult-y. And the only reason I came over them is because I was going through I was buying, because I bought these books because I realised if I got it from the library I wouldn't be able to return it. So I was going through, at the time, lots of Star Trek books. And I read all the ones. I think I bought pretty much all of them. And then in the same section was these science fiction, but fantasy books. I mean, technically Star Trek is fantasy, isn't it? But it's becoming more real life as we go. I think that's part of the reason I struggled to get into the Next Generation Star Trek, because not only had I watched all the episodes of Star Trek on repeats, of course, because I wasn't alive when they were first broadcast, but very late 70s, early 80s, they were on, I think it was a Tuesday night on BBC Two. And I used to watch them, and then reading the books as well. I felt very like I knew the characters, really knew them quite well, like Spock and I can't remember the others, but I knew them really well. Almost like they were family members. Can't remember their names, but I really felt close to them. And I started noticing these books, because I pulled one out because I was trying to get to another book, and I saw the cover and I thought, huh? And my tongue just rolled out of my mouth onto the floor. I was like, what is this? Honestly, no one told me about it. It was in the adult section of the library, so I wouldn't even have kind of looked at it really, because I was still a teenager at this time. And I think most of those books were in hardback in the library, but these were in softback or paperback. The fact that it was so thick with 400 pages put me off a bit. It was like, I'm not going to be able to, it'd take me a year to read that. But it's a weird, even as a slow reader, how fast you can read when you know a juicy bit's coming up. It's almost like, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I really took much notice of the story. I was just waiting for the next naughty part. Yeah, I was a teenager, so wow, I could not believe, my eyes were opened Because, yeah, and it's way more, it's just like, I don't know, if anyone's ever read any of that stuff, you'll know what I mean. I'm surprised it's even allowed, really. It's so extreme and explicit, some of it. And I started collecting them. It was almost like it was a secret, my own little dirty secret. Because no one else knew. They were just books. And you couldn't see from the edge of the book what it was. If you took the book out off the shelf and you looked at the front, you think, you know, it's like, that doesn't look like a book a child should be reading. But when it's actually just the edge bit, it didn't really have anything on there. And none of the titles really gave it away. Well, some of them were kind of close, but yeah. So yeah, I used to read those. So that was. I used to like reading fiction then. I've not really stuck to the topic of the day, have I? The old Monday, boring Mondays. Objects. I don't know what happened. I've got to find some more times when I was embarrassed. And this all started because I was going to talk about going on a computer course, and now I ended up talking about naughty science fiction fantasy books. I don't know how I got from one to the other. So, yeah. So, anyway, I got sent on this computer course. Embarrassing moments. Got sent on this computer course. It was in... where was it? I used to know the place, but I've forgotten. It's the only it's the best hotel I've ever been in. Harrogate, that's it, Harrogate. Best hotel. I think that was where the head office was of the company I was working for. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was 18 at the time. I just turned 18, or 18 the previous end of August. And this was the January, I think, maybe February. And the hotel wasn't near anything. There's no shops, there was nothing. It was on a hill, and there might have been stuff around, but I was only there for, I think, 3 days. And I got taken by car to where I needed to go, and it's like, what? There isn't anything here. There must have been a town centre, I just didn't get to see it. Well, the embarrassing thing happened when I had room service in the hotel. It was all paid for. Room service. Well, I guess, yeah, just room service, because it was food and stuff. I wasn't drinking alcohol. I didn't really drink back then. The first night I actually went out with the managing directors for a meal in the hotel. And I don't know how I managed to do that, because that wasn't me sitting in a restaurant with these people that were high up in a very large company. I don't know, honestly. Now, I didn't realise, I didn't really put the two things together. My dad actually worked for that company, a different part of the company, but he worked for that company. So maybe they knew him, and maybe my dad just said, can you keep an eye on him, can you just check he's okay, you know, because he knew I'd never been anywhere before. I'd never been anywhere on my own like that, you know. Even as a kid, when I moved around, I was always with an adult. So this is like suddenly, I'm up north and I'm on my own. Like, what the heck do I do? I didn't know anybody, no one to talk to. And I wasn't on a computer course with anyone else. It was just me on my own, going along, being taught how to use the system. There wasn't anybody else there. Because it was in the offices, like where the whole place worked. But I wasn't like in a group of people where I could get to know people or anything. Nothing like that. So the second night I thought, I'm not going back in that restaurant. I'm going to get, room service. I don't want to go back down there. It's too many people, too busy. And I'm not sitting at a table on my own. So I get room service. I have the dinner. And I think, okay, I better... So I'm just relaxing, really relaxed. I just basically got my underpants on and my socks, watching telly. It was a big... Because it wasn't just there was a bed, but there was a sofa in there and everything. And a big TV, well, a TV, probably quite big. Really big hotel room. It is the best I've ever been in. Not that I'm a hotel... exquisite connoisseur, whatever, but yeah, I haven't been in many hotels really. These days, the last 25 years or whatever, if I stayed, probably the last few decades, if I stayed in a hotel, it would normally be just not a happy shopper. What's it called? Just like a... Not burger, it's like a named one. They've all got names, haven't they? But I'm trying to think of a hotel. Hotel Inn? Holiday Inn? Something like that. And they're just all the same. I mean, they're different, but they're all pretty much the same. I don't like serving myself, though. Yeah, I don't like serving myself. It's not because I'm lazy. It might be because I'm lazy, though. But it's not because I'm lazy. It's... I just don't want to... Yeah, it just doesn't... It's not... doesn't suit me. There's a few reasons, but I just don't... Yeah. I prefer to have the food delivered to the table and... on a plate. All nice. It doesn't have to be neat, but just there, so I don't have to get up and queue up and walk around. And because some people are there, they got a wallet sticking out of the back pocket, and it's just tempted to you want to pickpocket them, but you think no, can't do that because I don't want to ruin the weekend, and if they catch me, and it's just like. What am I talking about? I've never pickpocketed anyone since I left school. I used to steal... Now, I didn't pickpocket, but at school I used to steal stuff from the teacher. So the teacher would go like, where's my calculator gone? And then later on I'd go up and speak to the teacher and ask a question. It was just like a magic trick, really. Like, look over there, look at my right hand, or look at my left hand, and that you not focusing on what I'm doing with my right hand. It probably sounds better if I do it the other way, but you know what I mean. So I'd be like, oh, look over there, there's a dinosaur outside, and I'd put the calculator back in their drawer, and then I'd go back to my chair or whatever, and I'd say, Miss, have you got a calculator? And she'd get angry because she'd already had a go at everyone. Someone's took a calculator. And she says, obviously you can see it's not here. I said, have you tried your drawer? Which he hadn't. Like, but it was on my desk. Well, it's not, it's in your drawer, isn't it? But it was on my desk. I said, and she said, yeah, it wasn't, but I said, no, it's in your hand. So she just get annoyed. And I do this with various different things, you know. I remember once she sort of said, I went up there, distracted her, kind of sat down, and she stood up and she was very furious, and she said, listen, no one's going to lunch until my table's been returned, my desk. And the good old days, isn't it? Hey? The good old days. Anyway. So I'm just chilling out. I can't remember what I was watching on the telly. I don't remember. Because it would have been probably EastEnders actually. I was probably watching EastEnders, which would be on about 7:30 at that time. Probably 7:30, because Wogan would be on first and then EastEnders. So I probably had my dinner probably during Wogan, and then watched EastEnders, just lazing about, because, you know, I didn't want to get up until my food had started to digest, you know. I didn't want to rush around. And I thought, what do I do with these plates? Well, it was just basically one plate and a knife and fork, maybe a cup as well or something. Like, what do I do with this? There might have been a basket with like tomato ketchups and stuff as well. So what do I do with this? I thought, do I wash it up myself in the sink or in the bath like I do at home? And I thought, no, wait a minute, because I remembered as I was walking in, I saw the day before, in the evening, I think, I saw a couple of plates outside people's doors, and I thought, yeah, that's what I got to do, because this is all new to me. I didn't know the etiquette of the whole thing. So I went outside the door, put the stuff down. I didn't know which side to look, so I kind of go out to look, and there was a plate over there. And as I was looking, the door shut. So put the stuff down. What I didn't realise is the door was locked. When the door closed, it locked itself. And you might think, well, so? Well, I didn't have my key on me. And you know why? Because my underpants did not have a pocket. Yes, my underpants. I was standing there outside the door with my underpants and my socks on. Now, normally that was how I would try and woo a lady, you know, with my socks on. Always kept my socks on and my underpants if I could. Unless, of course, I wanted to get a laugh. So I'm stuck out there, Mr. Skinny, because I was, you know, I was very self-conscious of how slim I was at that time. I didn't realise that actually being slim can be quite a good thing. Anyway, I did not know what to do. I even remember there was a window at the end, and I thought, no, jumping out the window is a bit extreme. What could I do? I didn't have anything. I didn't, honestly, just my underpants and my socks. And I didn't how, and I was on, I think, like third or fourth floor. And it was kind of both good and bad that there was no one else around. Good because I didn't want anybody to see me. But bad because I couldn't get any help. Luckily, after about 15 minutes, and I also needed to do a wee as well. Ideal, brilliant. someone came up. I think it was a cleaner or it was someone that worked there, came upstairs, and they did laugh, but it's expected. Can't moan that someone's laughing seeing someone practically naked standing out of the hotel room, because it was a funny visual, I guess. And I said, please, can you... I explained what happened, and I was like talking slowly, like really like trying to be very concise, perhaps a bit too loud as well. And then I realised that, because my only experience of waiters at that point was from Fawlty Towers, watching Fawlty Towers and Manuel like being Spanish or whatever, and Mr. Fawlty, Basil, shouting and having to keep explaining what he was trying to say. And I realised the bloke was just English and he could understand what I was saying. Or it might be a female, I can't remember. So I just said, look, help, please help me. So they went and got, I'm not sure if he had a key or she had a key that was like that opened all the doors, or went downstairs and got a key. But it was embarrassing. And if I ever tell you this story again, it'll probably be different from that time. I'll probably embellish, but wow. I really did not know what to do. What can I do? I mean, literally. Oh, there's another time. I suppose I did embarrass myself. Right. There's a little town that basically, where my dad lives and the next main town is about half an hour, I think. 40 minutes on a train, half an hour. And I figured in my mind that's not a long time. And we were halfway through the journey and the train broke down. And we managed to stop at a station. One of the stations there stopped out on the way. And people were standing on there on the platform, and the attendant said, you're going to have to wait till it's fixed before we can continue. And I said, no, but I've got to be somewhere. And he said no, and I caused a bit of a fuss. I wasn't rude, but I was a little bit cross, a little bit short. I said, well, I'll walk it then. And the bloke started making fun of me. He said, you can't walk that. I said, yeah, I can, we're nearly there. So I set off, and I kind of made a bit of a fuss about walking. I don't know, just almost very theatrical. And the other passengers sort of saw me walk off in a huff. I'm going to walk. Tell me I can't walk. I can walk there. Of course I can walk it. It's only a small amount of time. It's not just moaning. After half an hour, I realised I was lost. I was in the middle of the countryside. Didn't know where I was. And I realised that I was not going to get where I was going, because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know even if I was going in the right direction. I figured it was the right direction because it was the way the train was going. But eventually I left. I was nowhere near the railway track, so I had no idea where I was. So after half an hour I turned back and walked up. They were all still there. And I think eventually they decided they were going to get they were going to try and move the train onto a different track, and we'd catch, because the trains were like hourly, and that train, even though it was already delayed, the next train came. So I'm there walking up, and people are just all looking at me. I felt a little bit embarrassed. Yeah. It's like one of those situations, you back yourself into a corner. It's why I try not to do it. I did it a few times when I was younger, and there's nowhere to go from here. I remember once I got caught not paying a fare on a train, and I just hadn't bought a ticket. So I tried to play the whole, well, I've lost my ticket, and pretending to be angry at the bloke it's quite humiliating. They're really, I don't know. It was my fault, but it got to the point where I decided it was his fault, and it wasn't my fault, and I was in the right, even though I wasn't. I kind of talked myself into it, but I had no way of winning the argument. And I was standing there, this was 2001, I was standing there arguing with no hope of winning. And in the end, he just took my address. So I gave him my old address where I didn't live anymore. So, yeah. But it was just like, what's the point in arguing this? Because if you're really nice, there's been times when there's one time I fell asleep on a train, and I ended up a long way away from London. And the ticket inspector came round, and I was just genuine. I said, the train has stopped, by the way. And the ticket inspector, they came round basically to wake me up. Well, can I see your ticket? Because I was asleep. I think they thought it was a bit dodgy. I said, no, no, I was supposed to be going to Stratford. They said, well, you're in Norwich. I said, oh man. So you got a ticket? I said, yeah, look, it says Stratford. He said, yeah, but you're in Norwich. You need to have paid for a ticket to Norwich. I said, look, I live in Stratford. I've got no reason to come to Norwich, and I'm now stuck here for the next 5 hours until the next train goes back. And he didn't give me any hassle. He just let me get off and wait for the next train, which was, I think I got there early hours, and the next one wasn't until about 6 in the morning to go back to London. So I'd have to pay for that trip as well. So he could have been really, it was embarrassing because it was just me and him. No one else was around. One embarrassing thing, I remember I was on a bus and I was working in the bakery, the big bakery, in about 91. It was 91. And I was doing long hours. And I was coming back on the bus and I fell asleep. Also, at that time, even when I was working before I worked in the actual bakery itself, I worked in the canteen of the bakery. So I'd be doing just like a normal day's work. But I'd also be up during the night, like up till early hours of the morning at comedy clubs. So I didn't generally get a huge amount of sleep, so I'd be very, very tired. I fell asleep anyway. Luckily, I was the bus stopped and I woke up, and I was one stop away from my stop, which was lucky because I was proper asleep. And I looked down, and East London's busy. I mean, this was like 5:30. It's super busy all the time. Yeah. And these people looking up at me, and I'm thinking, what are you staring at? And I realised that I was dribbling. I dribbled all down the window and all over myself. I was that tired, I literally fell asleep, and I was at an angle, so it was just all dribbling down. It was embarrassing. It was. And I just had to look away and like, oh. I think I might have actually got off the bus there and walked the rest of the way, because like, no, this was bad. So it was a little bit embarrassing. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've done that's been embarrassing, really. This all seems quite... I know, quite soft, isn't it? There's no, like, major things. I mean, I had a girlfriend once, and this was 96, so... We was on a train. There was no one opposite us, but there were people behind us. We were like in... You couldn't really see what we were doing because of the way the train was sort of suited. But she pulled my trousers down, you know, everything down. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a bit risky, but, you know. And then she starts laughing, and she pushes me into the gangway, you know, the where you walk through between the chairs. Whew, that was embarrassing. I mean, I covered up, but honestly, I could have got arrested for that. It's very, very naughty of her. Oh, another time that was quite embarrassing. Same female. I used to work nights. That's where I actually met her. I was working nights as security guard, and we'd be up all night. She just used to come down, and we spent out, you know, nights and nights and nights in a row, just chatting and getting to know each other, and then fell in love and all that stuff. And then she stopped. She stopped coming down. No, then she'd come down, and she wouldn't be all night with me because I would see her more outside of work, you know. But she'd still be down there and come down and sort of see me, and it was kind of early days, so it was quite a passionate time. I was in this enclosed office part where there was a big desk, and it was all encased like glass, and you know, you couldn't get into it, could lock the door, and there was chairs, and there was this big desk and stuff. And we also had, because it was the reception of the place that I was working, but we also had the mobile, which was the security guard who would come down and check on all the different sites to make sure, first of all, that we're there, make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and that we're not asleep. And the mobiles, I think, at night, that's kind of their main job, is to make sure that the people are not asleep. Now, I was never asleep at that job. I was at the second one, but I was never asleep there. Anyway, my girlfriend was... I've got to explain this so it doesn't sound rude, but she was underneath the table. I was sitting at the table, she was underneath the table. So I guess she must have been searching for a pencil or something. And the mobile came in. Now, I knew sometimes, generally the mobile wouldn't, sometimes they'd come into the office bit, sometimes they wouldn't. I knew if the mobile came into the office bit, you know, that's my job gone. Like 100%. Now, under that situation, I would have expected my girlfriend to, I don't know, kind of be ready for that situation to sort of make an excuse, but she didn't. She found it hilarious. So the mobile, the insurance, the security mobile, was standing talking to me through the glass. And I'm trying to have a conversation with her. or him. There was a lady and a man, I don't remember who it was. And it was hard. I mean that as a pun. It was very difficult. If you remember Police Academy, the very first Police Academy, and the Police Academy, the top man is standing doing a talk to all. I think it's basically everyone's passed and become police officers. He's talking to everyone in like, you know, he's behind a rector or whatever it's called, a good name. And the rector, what, you know, the thing that you put your papers on. And there was someone in front of him, out of sight. It was kind of that situation. I never thought it would ever happen, and I'm so glad that I didn't get caught, because that was super embarrassing. I just started to realise she was a bit of a troublemaker, wasn't she? Remember once we visited my dad in the we stayed in his caravan out the front, and she painted my toenails before seducing me. The next day we go out, we're on the beach, and she said, "Oh, do you want to, should we go for a little dip?" I said, "Well, I can't, I've got my clothes on." She said, "No, just up to her ankles or whatever, just cool off." I said, "Alright." So took my shoes and my socks off. We're just walking around, walking towards the beach, walking like towards the sea rather, and she's laughing her head off, and other people are laughing, and I don't know what the hell why are you laughing? And I'm just like oblivious. I didn't realise, I'd forgotten that my toenails were painted, and she'd painted them all different colours, really bright. It's almost like she'd planned it. And she found it hilarious that I was walking along the beach with my toenails, with my really bright toenails shining. That was embarrassing. Yeah, that was embarrassing. A lot of times have I been embarrassed. Okay. I've told this story. I've got to be careful with these stories, because some of them are a little bit adult, but at the same time I'm being vague, okay? So I was staying with my friend Neil in his bedroom. He was in a bed, I was on the floor in his dad's sleeping bag. So basically his dad lent me the sleeping bag, and I slept over. It was like, it's a sleepover. We were both probably about 14 at the time. And he woke up. We woke up in the morning, and, you know, probably, he seemed to be awake up before I was. And he shouted, "Wake up." I thought, okay. And he said, "We're going to go down and breakfast soon." He said, "Before that, do you want to have a contest?" And I don't know, I kind of agreed. So we had this contest, but, you know, it was under the covers, couldn't see nothing and everything like that, and I don't know why, but anyway, it was this contest, and I won the contest. And I'm like being a bit cocky, said, "I win." And he lets out a big laugh, pulls the like the bedclothes back, or the duvet back, and he's fully clothed. So clearly he's been up a while, and he's got dressed and everything. And he starts laughing at me and goes down to breakfast. I wasn't fully clothed. I really didn't know what to do. I had to pretend that I was also pretending. And there was I remember a few months later, because his dad was cool. He was really, both his parents were really nice. And I don't know why they allowed me to go around there, because no other parents let me go around people's houses. Only one other. I used to get banned. I'd go around to a friend's house and they would say, no, I don't want you back. Whether it's them just saying it because they didn't want me to visit, but even my bestest friend, I wasn't allowed in his house because his dad didn't like me. But Neil's parents, they were amazing. Phenomenal, honestly. They liked me more than my own parents seemed to. I don't know why, they accepted that I was however I was. Anyway, I was around there a couple of months or a month later, and I was just leaving, and I was saying, I think I had something to eat, and I said, thanks for the grub, I'm off. And his dad called me back, and I said, what? He said, Jason, you owe me a sleeping bag. And Neil's laughing his head off, and I'm so embarrassed. Because all Neil did was he just basically, he just wrapped it up and stuck it into the loft or something, I don't know. And I think his dad was about to go camping or fishing or something and needed the sleeping bag and just couldn't open it. Anyway, a similar thing at my friend's house, Neil. Another thing that happened is, this was embarrassing because I had to face the consequences of this. Basically, we had a free afternoon, so this would be again when I was 14, probably, maybe 15, 14 probably. And we basically went round Neil's house, me, Dean and Neil. So we went round Neil's house, and Neil raided his dad's alcohol place. So we have vodka. Don't do this if you're listening at home. I basically had a pint of a mixture of different things. Whiskey being the main one, and then a mixture of other things. And bearing in mind, I'd been drunk once in my life before that. And other than that, the most I'd ever drink was like a glass of wine on a Sunday. That was kind of standard back then. Like a glass of wine on Sunday and at Christmas and stuff. But I was a kid. I wasn't drinking alcohol, or wasn't hanging out in the park doing stuff like that. So I drank this stuff, and I got completely the worst I've ever been in my life. I've never been like that since. And they found it hilarious, which is kind of weird considering it was Neil's house. He took me into his mum and dad's bedroom and wrapped me up in their quilt, and I completely ruined the bedroom. I was just being ill everywhere. So his mum and dad came home to a house that was destroyed by me. And they never told me off. They never banned me from going back. And they should have done, really, shouldn't they? I did apologise when I saw them. And then after that, I left and I went and did my paper round. And the next day, my boss at the paper shop said, we had lots of complaints yesterday. People saying that you didn't deliver their newspapers. Can you tell me where they are? I said I did deliver them. Where I delivered them, I couldn't tell you, but I definitely delivered them. And yeah, I got in trouble for that. Very strange. They came round to see me later in the evening to see if I was okay. Wow. Put me off whiskey forever. I managed to force myself to drink a bit of whiskey with my dad a couple of times, because that was the only way I could be. I was trying to bond with him, you know. This is back when I was about 17, 18. I just can't drink whiskey, just not my thing. I think I'm quite lucky though, because if I had been able to, I think my life would have been different. But yeah, the weird thing about it is, when I was 16, I moved into the flat above the chip shop. I didn't have anything really to go in there, and my friend Neil's parents gave me loads of stuff, like cutlery, plates, dishes, toaster, kettle, all this stuff they gave me for my flat. And I remember sitting down just in the town centre on a bench outside and thanking his dad, and being quite teary actually, because I couldn't believe that he did it. But both him and his mum, and his husband, his wife, that they'd actually cared enough to help me, especially after what I'd been up to. It's weird, it's so lovely. I remember 96, with this girlfriend that I told you, the naughty one. I visited my friend Neil's house, and he wasn't there, but his mum was still there, and his dad was at work. And I spent a couple of hours talking to her, and we were going over some, the old times. She was exactly the same as before. Just lovely. She was Glaswegian, so she's not that really means anything, but she was very down to earth and didn't pull her punches. Just lovely. And is still welcoming to me, even after 10 years after I left school, because this is like I was 26 at this point, and I left school when I was 15, and she was still she'd still opened the door and invited me in, remembered me. I thought it didn't even look the same anymore, but yeah. But that was embarrassing. I can't think of any other embarrassing. Oh, yeah. When I mentioned this the other day, I asked a lady out in a travel agency, and she said yes. That's not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part is I stayed in there and continued to chat her up, or try to. And by the time I left, she told me that she changed her mind. And this all happened in front of two of her colleagues in a shop that didn't have any customers. They just happened to be a really quiet afternoon. And I think I embarrassed myself more than I realised. What other embarrassing moments? Oh, that was that one when I got stuck in the chair. Oh, that I mentioned earlier. What other things? Embarrassing. There's probably loads. Bearing in mind how ancient I am, there must be absolutely loads. But just trying to think. Can't think of any more. So this was Monday's boring objects. Monday's boring sleepy objects. Oh, come on, there must be another one. There was one. It was embarrassing, but luckily no one found out. So when I worked in a nightclub, I used to, at the end of the day, I used to go to the toilet in the women's toilets. When the nightclub was closed, that is. Because the men's toilets were unusable. And usually there'd be at least one or two toilets in the females that I could use. So I'd go and have a nice toilet in there. So I'm sitting down, no one else around. As far as I was aware, all the staff were upstairs, like chilling out. I was wrong. And two of the staff members came into the ladies' toilets. And they were doing their makeup. I thought if they were like planning to go out again, go out somewhere else. So they were talking. What I should have done, I should have shouted straight away, "Oi, I'm in. I'm here." And if they said, "Why are you not using the men's toilets?" I could just say, "Because I'm a perv." I guess like you go in the men's toilets and then you come back and tell me why I'm in here. Because it's blocked. So, but no, I kept quiet because I just didn't know what to do. And they were in there for about 20 minutes. And I'm also almost holding my breath. And at one point, you know when you can feel a bit of gas? A little bit of gas building up. And I thought, no. There's no way. No, you can't. I won't be able to hide that. You know, there's no way of hiding that. I'd have to flush the toilet in order to cover up the sound. But then I thought, oh no, but then they probably know that I'm there as well. They probably wonder who's flushed the toilet. So yeah, that was embarrassing. There was one time when I was in a public toilet. I was in a nightclub toilet rather. And I was doing something perhaps I shouldn't have been doing. Anyway, I won't go into that. Someone's knocking on the door and I'm like, oh, go away, I'm busy. And I hear their voice and they're looking underneath the cubicle toilet door, looking at me. I was like, what the heck? So that wasn't good. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's probably a few other little bits and bobs. I mean, I was embarrassed every time I was at school when it was shower time. That was, you know, I mean, it's not a specific thing that happened, but I felt embarrassed because I was like a kid around all these adults. It was horrible. Didn't like it. No, can't think of any other things that I might have done that was mildly where I embarrassed myself or I felt embarrassed. Loads of times I felt embarrassed, but nothing obvious. Yeah, as a kid I was used to, when I was very young I used to say stuff without meaning it. So I started in a chip shop and there was this lady, she was probably in her 60s, and she, again, I would never do this, but I was 15 years old, so I just want to point this out. Anyway, she had like 3 teeth or something, and she was very moany. She just moaned the whole time. And she used to moan at me. I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Like really. She wasn't particularly friendly to me. But, you know, as I've learned over years, she's probably got kids and grandkids that adore her. So, you know. But I didn't see the world that way at the time. Anyway, we had a delivery of stuff like bleach, stuff for like cleaning a place. And don't ask me why, but we had a big like broom head, the bristles. I picked it up and shouted out, "Look, here's Doris's new toothbrush." And I was going to say everyone laughed. Not everyone. She didn't laugh, the opposite. And I instantly felt guilty. But everyone did laugh. But I was a kid, you know what I mean? I was 15 years old. I forgot she was there. But I didn't plan to say it. It just fell out of my mouth. I can't remember what her name. I'm saying Doris. I don't know what her name was. I can't remember. I do remember her name, but I'm not going to say it. And she'd be like, "Oh, yeah." I would never do anything like that now, but back, or even probably in my 20s, maybe, probably wouldn't. Probably not, no. I don't know. No, I don't think I would. But not now. So, I mean, you could say, well, I embarrassed her, but I also embarrassed myself, because it was a ridiculous thing to have done, and it was not nice, and yeah. We never became best friends. And the weird thing about it is, I always had a lot of respect for elderly people, and I still do, because of my grandparents. Or my my nan. Always had respect, but then, I don't know what it was. The way I think back then is like, if you're going to be rude to me, then, it's going to be returned. I try not to do, but I don't know, I've got nothing to say. I don't feel good about having done that, but I did do it. It's almost like confession time, isn't it? And then there was that time I cut the brakes on that car. No, I never did that. No, I think that's it. It's not it. There's loads of others, but I can't think at the moment quite. There's one time I was walking through the nightclub, and someone was eating, because it's a comedy club. Someone was eating, and they asked me a question. So I think I'm talking to them, and I kneel down, and as I talk to them, my chewing gum falls out of my mouth onto the floor. And she looks at me weirdly. Everyone at the table looks at me weirdly, and I'm like. When I got back to the bar, I thought two things to learn from that. First of all, don't let chewing gum fall out of my mouth onto the floor. And secondly, don't pick it up and put it back in my mouth. Maybe that was the big one, but that was embarrassing. Other things. I remember once I was in the DJ booth, and this was the early years, and a lady jumped through the window of the DJ booth and started kissing me. And I'm like, what are you doing? I actually did say that, what are you doing? She said, "I'm kissing you." I said, "Okay. Why?" It really threw me off, because it was the first time anything like that had happened. It wasn't the last time, it was definitely the first time. And she said to me something that really made me think. She said, "Why not? What's wrong with you?" Not like what's wrong with you, but why wouldn't I want to kiss you? And I'm like, that's a good point. Why wouldn't you want to? And because I'd lost my mojo at that point, and I was like in my prime, I'd lost my mojo through circumstances or whatever. And that's when it sparked. That little spark came back. It's almost like I felt like a man. You know, my version of a man. I just felt like, oh. And I hadn't felt that for quite a while. I haven't felt it for years. But there was a degree of, I think it's confidence. The confidence kind of came back. My mojo came back. And after that, and that was like at the end of 97, 98, I had a haircut, put on some better clothes, put more effort into my appearance, and I was dating. I was back in the dating game, and dated a lot of dating in that year. So it's just like I got my mojo back and my confidence. And I realised that, why wouldn't someone want to, maybe not kiss me, but why wouldn't someone want to talk to me? Nothing that wrong with me. I know I'm not a supermodel anymore, but still technically human. So, I don't know really. I don't know what the point of this conversation was. Embarrassing moments. That was embarrassing because I didn't expect it to happen. And I think it's not just the fact that she jumped over the thing. It's the fact that I screamed really loudly because it made me jump. Yeah. Now, there's probably loads and loads and loads, but that's all I can think of right now. But I am still trying to think. I almost want to find one that's really good. I want to find a juicy one, a juicy embarrassment. You know, something where I've just looked at absolute silly Billy, like really. Really silly. No, can't think of anything. I'm trying to go back into different jobs I've had. Jobs I've been sacked from. Relationships I've had, embarrassing moments in those relationships. I imagine all relationships are going to have embarrassing moments. I just can't think. It's been such a long time. No, I can't think of anything else. I probably will do now. As soon as I finish this recording, I go into the kitchen and heat up some, what are they called? Not croquettes, whatever they're called. French, croquettes, pastries. And then a cup of tea, I'll probably... Croissants, that's it. I'll probably remember. No. Oh, there was one. Oh, okay, I can't say that one because it's very... Well, there was this female, it sounds like I'm just talking about women here, but she was working in one of my insurance jobs, and I couldn't help physically reacting when she was around. I don't mean like dancing or anything or doing handstands. It's probably just pheromones, you know, just her pheromones were affecting I imagine I had hormones back then. So it's just a chemistry thing, that's all it was. and I was affected by her. I mean, really, if she'd have liked me, that would have been potentially a really powerful relationship. But she didn't like me, so it was just a bit weird. I don't know why. I guess my chemistry, whatever, was reading signals that weren't there. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, she used to be friendly to me. But one day she asked, and she used to wear, like, I would never have complained, but it was really quite inappropriate clothing that she was wearing. It looked like I liked how she looked, don't get me wrong, but I've seen people get told off to not wear that kind of clothing in the office environment, just because of the distraction it can have. And it's usually, I found it's quite often it was other women that were complaining about it, not the men. But she's definitely, all she was missing was a whip on this occasion. That's what I'm going to say, a whip and handcuffs. And she asks me over, because my job is to listen to phone calls, and she wanted to ask me a question. So I go over, I lean over, I bend over to talk to her and stuff. And then that effect, there's no way of saying this without laughing, blimey. Because I was bending over, forward I mean, and she just had, I said, it had an effect. So when we finished, I stood up. Apparently I nearly knocked her off her chair, and she went and told everyone that I had that there was a flag in my pants, let's say. And I was like, why? She literally told everybody on the sales floor, and a couple of people came down and were laughing. I thought, I'm going to get sacked, because it wasn't my fault, it was just a physical response. And I didn't realise that it was going to be, I didn't think it would be visible, to be honest. No one's ever noticed it before. And she was telling everyone, but I don't think anyone cared. Because what she didn't know is, a couple of months earlier, I was working on the sales floor myself, so everybody knew me. And she was quite new, so they didn't care. I wasn't just some random person that worked downstairs that was creeping on everyone. I wasn't. I was literally just doing my job, and had a uncontrollable flagpole occasionally. And it's really weird, because I don't think any other person's ever had that effect on me. Hardly at all in my life. And she didn't even like me. How weird is that? To literally be I don't know, out of my control. I didn't think about her when I was at work. I didn't think about her when I was at home. But when I was in front of her, she almost just walked past me, and something happened. I kind of like, again, chemicals. It's just like chemicals in the air, isn't it? That's why when people say, "Oh, I don't find young women attractive. I'm an old man." Like, no, you do, because it's not your fault either, because it's chemicals. Not penicillin. What's it called? Not estrogen. What do they call it? The smells that we produce, that we can't smell consciously, affect each other. Pheromones, that's it. Pheromones. So, and people just lied. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm not attracted to a 20-year-old. I'm 35 now. No, you might not be attracted to them. You might not be looking to be with someone that's younger than you. But the attraction's not in your control. being attracted to someone, being attracted to an older man or a younger man, whatever, it's not in your control. It either happens or it doesn't happen. You can't control what we're attracted to. You can't control what you like eating. I mean, you could probably wean yourself onto something. Why would you want to? But you know, if you go from full fat milk to skimmed milk, it tastes disgusting to start with. But you do that for maybe a year, 2 years. You try and go on to full milk. Full milk will taste disgusting. I say disgusting, but not everyone's going to experience it that way, but I have. It's very hard, and some people say, well, there's no difference. Skim milk's just like water. Well, fair enough. I've never drunk white water before that tastes like milk, but hey, you know, I've never put water on breakfast cereal, you know, or in tea. Well, obviously I put water in tea, but that's not a good example, is it? So that was embarrassing because of what she was saying about me. Like I'd almost walked in like a cockerel, proud, or what's those things that walk around proud? Not a penguin, not peregrine falcon. What's it called? Peacock. Like a peacock. Like, oh, look at my tail and all my colours and stuff. And I wasn't doing that. I was literally just coming up to see one of the managers about something. And then she stopped me and said, oh, can you help me with something or whatever? I don't know what it was. It was a question about something. I wasn't listening. I was listening. I just don't remember. So that was, yeah. That was embarrassing. I mean, there's another time I was embarrassed, but it was almost a weird embarrassment because when I got Andre, very early, Andre's my little ferret, I let him off the lead and he ran into a ditch in the field. He just ran into a ditch, so I jump in to get him because I don't want to lose him, and because he's so little, the idea of losing him was just, I couldn't. I get caught. So basically I get caught on this old wreck of a car that's rusty in this ditch. Didn't notice that. There's all these thorns and everything. I managed to get hold of Vinny, or Andre rather, because he's stuck. Because the collar he's wearing is stopping him getting through, so I managed to get him out. So I've got him in my arms. I can't, it's been raining, I can't get out. I'm all cut up, by the way, on this car, this rusty car. My arms all split open, but I'm trying to just get out of this ditch, and I keep sliding back. And I am embarrassed because I'm like, how the heck do I get out of this? Because I can't walk down the ditch because it's completely full of trees and bushes and everything. The ditch is higher than I am, taller than I am, so I'm standing in the ditch. The ditch is probably, it's got to be 8-9 foot high, because I'm 5'8" or whatever. I'm trying to climb with just one hand because I'm holding him with the other hand. I do it in the end, but I fall over about 3 or 4 times probably as I'm doing it. So I end up walking back when I get out, and I'm completely covered in mud, as well as having my hand and my arm. I think I even cut my face a bit, but a lot of it was just scratches. But it was like, this does not look good. And it's really weird, I didn't see one person Usually, it's usually people walking. No one could have helped me when I was in the ditch. I didn't even see anyone as I walked home. Because after all that, it would be nice to have been stopped and asked, so I could tell them the story. Instead of waiting for 9 years to tell you now. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm going to get myself some croissants. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye, 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 bye.